Hey, welcome back to our second episode of This Week in History. It's a YouTube series where we detail the things that happened in history this week. That's pretty obvious, don't you think? This week marks some pretty important milestones in the civil rights movement. It's a true, circle of life. You have the tragic death, the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and then you have the birth of writer Maya Angelou. And they both happened on the same day, April 4th, but obviously in different years. Let me start out by saying it's impossible for me to characterize accurately the impact that Dr. Martin Luther King had on the civil rights movement in this format. You most definitely know this, but Dr. King's tactic for advancing civil rights and desegregating America was through nonviolent activism. He took the fight against segregation and inequality all the way from the Deep South up here to Washington, D.C., and that's where he delivered his famous I Have a Dream speech that inspired and is still quoted today. Okay, but here's some things you might not know. During his brief 39-year life, he was jailed 29 times, sometimes for crimes as simple as driving 5 miles above the speed limit. In 1968, he was planning an occupation of Washington, D.C. to fight for social and economic injustice. He called it the Poor People's Campaign. Then April 4th came, and assassin James Earl Ray shot Dr. King outside his Memphis hotel room. Dr. King's life might have ended, but not his work. Maya Angelou in 1928 was born on April 4th. Now, it's her writings and her social activism that came through and inspired social change over the course of her life. Her first book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, was an autobiography, and in it, she detailed issues like racism, sexual violence, and income inequality. She would go on to author more books, poems, she even did films as well as TV shows, all of them with the central theme of talking about issues Americans were afraid to talk about. She was the first African-American female to direct a Hollywood film, and she spoke 5 or 6 languages?
6 languages.
6 languages? I can barely speak 1. Now, I'm sure if they could talk about the state of equal rights in America right now, they'd both be able to see the progress they helped make in the 20th century. But I'm also pretty sure they'd both say, hey, there's still work to do. Hey, thanks for watching. We're a new series and we'd greatly appreciate a like and a subscribe. And hey, if you have a history subject you want to hear about, submit it in the comments below. We'll look it over, we'll do the research, and it may show up on the next This Week in History.